Good evening, everyone. It is 6:45. I'd like to call this meeting to order.
This meeting will also be conducted by audio and video conference without the requirement of a physically present quorum of the Rock Island City Council due to the disaster declaration issued by Governor Pritzker. Because of this order related to COVID-19 health concerns affecting the state and the city, the mayor has determined that an in-person meeting at City Hall with all participants may not be practical or prudent. The elder persons and staff may not all be physically present at City Hall due to the disaster, and physical attendance at City Hall may be limited. To participate remotely during the public comment or public hearing portion of the meeting, please join by phone at 1-802-466-2803 and use PIN number 366-910-821#.
Thank you very much. Roll call.
Alderman Robinson.
Present.
Alderman Hurt. Absent. Alderwoman Gilbert.
Present.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Here.
Alderman Parker.
Here.
Alderman Poulos.
Here.
Alderman Geenan. Absent. Mayor Tomes.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much.
At 6:47. I don't think anyone has brought any public.
No, Chief, is there anybody signed up back there?
Lease?
Yeah, I thought so. Thank you. All right, item number 6, we have public comment. We have several people who signed up. Mike Collar? Mike? Collar? Collar?
Collier.
There you go, Collar, okay. Get that right. Yes, sir.
Your tie. Tripping.
Huh?
Your tie's over your shoulder.
Get you straightened out.
Hey, get you right.
Thank you, Doc.
Yes, my name is Mike Collier. I'm with Positive Brothers United, nonprofit organization. We combat violence here in the communities in Rock Island as well as Davenport. It's been a situation that's been going on here in the Rock Island downtown area where it's a lot of loitering going on down there. We spoke with some of the business owners as well as some of the residents, and they're kind of scared to even walk around sometimes down there. So what we come here to do is to offer our services as far as maybe we can walk around downtown area throughout the days and try to stop people from loitering around down there and offer them a better alternative. Maybe they can come to some of our self-empowerment meetings that we have every Thursday from 5 to 6, hosted by Robert Lee. And, we just want to let y'all know that we're here and we extend our support, to help and make a difference down in the downtown area here. So
It's great. I don't know, Mike, if Thomas wants to speak first or not, but if you want to read that information you showed me also.
Okay, yeah. Our organization is, we have it's PBU self-empowerment meeting The meetings are held every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. at 3704 9th Street, Rock Island, Illinois. Meetings offer positive life skills that will help individuals turn their lives around and contribute to the well-being of themselves, their families, and their communities. The topics of discussions will be learning how to pray and build personal relationships with God, self-empowerment and community engagement skills, education on the effects of alcohol and drugs, physical and psychological. Like I said, we'll have Robert Lee with Alcohol and Drug Education Services there chairing the meetings. And if you want to be a part of the meetings, just give us a contact at 309-631-3424. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thomas, did you have something to say?
No, I do not. I'm with Mike.
Yeah, can we get the phone number? There's not a phone number on here. Can we get that phone number again?
Yep, it's 309-631-3424.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
I
Appreciate it.
you. Yep.
Appreciate your efforts. All right, Thurgood, Brooks.
Good evening. How's it going? I'm Thurgood Brooks. I'm gonna steal your thunder a little bit because I just came from practice, and I want to congratulate you all for representing Rock Island. I know we have 9 rocks back there, so that's even better. But I'll keep that for another day. But I'm here today to speak about again the Police Community Relations Commission that we've. I want to be clear because apparently there's some people on the council. I believe we sent a multitude of drafts. We sent a total of 2 drafts, to which the second draft we communicated with 6 council persons, the mayor, our city manager. We had a study session to come up with some agreements. A public study session that's on the record, to which we had compromises. I believe we came to some understandings. There was questions asked. There was questions answered. And then what we did after having an understanding, and our city attorney was there, we went back to you all in about 72 hours, as we said we would in that study session. We gave you the document, I want to be clear, the document, and we presented to you, and I met with another alder person to circle back to further the understanding, which we did. In the following meeting, we had 3 to 4 alderpersons in some capacity inquire about it being on the agenda after a public comment of me asking for such. And then I had discussions with our city manager that those weeks leading up. He informed me he wanted to talk to some more council persons, whom one of which refused to meet with us, but wanted to edit, apparently, a draft after the study session and outside of a meeting of understanding. And I articulated to our city manager currently that we were not interested in having side conversations without anyone coming to the table to discuss a document with transparency so we can come to an understanding. Because I've been clear, myself and my team, that we're doing this not for Thurgood, not for friends. It's a community thing. I just ran here from football practice. Trust me, I'm hungry. I wouldn't want to come here if I didn't feel it was bigger than me. And you're in a position to adhere, input, and provide substance and concrete ways in which we can tackle problems. And I don't feel that is being done in good faith. And I'll tell you how, and I'll be brief. Apparently, after we went through all these steps in which we're told to do, because you don't want us to act any other way, and I would not condone that. That's not how we operate. But if we did, that'd be a reason not to. So we came to you how it's designed to do. And when we did that, in return, you flip the script. In flipping the script, you do things backwards. Apparently, you go to legal after all this, as backwards. Legal was a part of this. He was in the study session. It is unclear to me how we get so far, and then apparently we have to do a step at which should already been done. And the good faith comes here. I have yet to receive any notice officially from anybody, our city manager in particular, because you're the one communicating with us as far as who we're talking to. I have yet to receive a understanding of what the legal concerns may be, what the process was. Hey, Thurgood and friends, can we get an understanding? Are we missing something here? But instead, I hear from our mayor, respectfully, after the last council meeting during other business, almost excitedly, as if you're excited, that it's a moot point now with this commission because our city manager misinterpreted my saying, I'm not interested, we're not interested in a council person outside of meeting with us that's unwilling to speak their concerns at a study session, that's public. We're not interested in adding anything addition to be voted on that we will not see. I think that's fair. And so what I'm here today is asking, are we doing this in good faith? If we are, we can accomplish this because this commission we have designed, newsflash, is going on around the country. So Rock Island can do it. If the people who we have elected, who we trust, who we are supposed and do believe are doing this, the job that you're doing because you love Rock Island and you want to see the best, not only now, but in the future. So please, if I'm missing something, my email has not changed. Our friends have not changed. My number has not changed. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And I promise you, I will make myself available to you. I promise. And or my team. And so that's why I'm here, for some clarity, and hopefully we can get that by the end of the day. I'm hopeful. I'm still hopeful. And it's becoming hard, but I'm hopeful because that's who I am. That we're going to do the right thing, and we're going to come together and do this because it's not about an individual. It's about our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel is it Hinstead? Hinsky, I'm sorry.
Good evening, council members. I appreciate your time. My name's Dan Hinsky. I've actually just moved here in January, so I'm a new resident to Rock Island. Tonight I'm here to speak on kind of my findings and opinion on this exploration of selling Rock Island's water to Illinois American Water. And before I do that, I want to kind of just tell you a story of Homer's Glen. They sold their municipal water to Illinois American Water in 2002. In 2003, they had a 40% price increase in the water, and then they had a 26% price increase in 2010, and then a 15% price increase in 2017. This is according to the Chicago Tribune. And they had annual price increases throughout, so it's not like these were just incremental increases. There was increases every year. These were just major ones. And several times the city tried to combat these exorbitant price hikes by going to the ICC every time they were rejected, and they tried to buy that water back from Illinois American Water, and that was rejected as well. So the end result is that these residents are paying a price of almost 70% higher water than their municipalities that are around them. And these numbers match the watchdog organization Food and Water Watch, who calculate privately owned utilities cost 59% more for water, 63% more for sewer, have average price hikes that are nearly 3 times the rate of inflation. And so, when these private companies do choose to invest in local water infrastructure, it's also 50 to 150% more expensive to do so. As you're familiar, as a local municipality, I was on a board of trustees at Blackhawk Community College. You work a lot with bonds. You get bonds somewhere around 4% interest, depends on the bond. There's a lot of technicalities that go in that. But private companies, investors have to use their own equity, they have to use corporate debt, and they have to secure other loans. This means that there's a higher upfront cost and a higher interest rate, and that gets passed on to the consumer every single time. So I wondered, well, okay, well, what do local customers think about Illinois American Water or just American Water? Unfortunately, we have 3 big cities around us that use that. We have Davenport, we have Urbana, and we have Peoria that we can use as a case study. So I just pulled up all the Better Business Bureau reviews that I could find, the Yelp reviews I could find, the Google reviews I could find, and I aggregated those percentages. So a 1-star review becomes a 0 because you have to leave a 1-star review to leave a negative review. And then it's, 2 stars, 25, 3 is 50, 4 is 75, 5 is 100%. So what does that mean? Well, that means the average customer satisfaction in Davenport with 47 reviews is 5.6%. And Peoria with 18 reviews has 5.6%. And Urbana with 26 reviews has 4.2% approval. And these customer complaints range from continued billing after cancellation, trouble establishing service, hours of being on hold. One guy said he was on hold for 27 hours over a period of 5 days trying to get someone to answer the phone. We have poor smell and quality of water. That was in Urbana. We have unreachable technicians, unfriendly customer services, just to name a few things. So the answer to the question, what can we expect from the level of service, water quality, and price point that we receive if we were to acquiesce the city's control to a private entity is clear. The city would gain nothing at the cost of everything. Honestly, I would rather pay more in the short term to put in better infrastructure than to pay the inevitable dramatic price increases for myself and for future generations for the rest of our lives. So in summary, to explore the sale of the city's water, I think is grossly irresponsible. And I know you all are well-intentioned in your civic service, and I appreciate every one of you who serve on here and everything that you do for the city. But I really do think that any vote of the city's water should be decided solely by citizens in a referendum. Thank you.
Thank you. Beatrix?
Hi, my name's Beatrice Hinsky. I would like to start off by saying that I would also support a referendum when we're talking about privatizing water for the city. While I feel Daniel made some adequate points about the economic sense, or rather nonsense, that is privatizing water, I would like to add some points to the discussion by presenting some questions I would like everyone here to think over. All right, so consider this. If the private company's service is poor to the extent that it hurts quality of living, who will keep them accountable? Now, if they are kept accountable, will the fines that they may or may not incur make a difference in their future service? Will they maintain water infrastructure in parts of the community that have higher instances of defaulting on bills or failing to pay on time than other parts of the community? Now, should the community want to make the water public again, how much money will it cost to break a contract? Will that even be written into the contract? And I'm going to say it would probably be more than the city can afford, judging by the state of the roads. And I imagine it'd be quite a lengthy legal battle if we were to try to break a contract. Now, how many civilians would have to live with reduced quality of life before the city would care to break said contract? And so, lastly, this is more of a moral question. Is it moral to is it moral to profit off of a human necessity when that necessity is monopolized? Or even if there are two companies to choose from, at what point does it become moral? Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that's everyone that signed up. So we will then move on. Oh, virtual. Forgot about virtuality. Anybody virtual? Anybody out there virtual? Hearing none. We'll then move on. Item number 7.
Minutes of the July 26th, 2021 City Council meeting.
Move to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
I would just like to go on the record that on item number 17, I voted nay against the purchase card claims report.
Okay, get adjusted. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Yes.
Alderman Parker,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item number 8.
Minutes of the July 26th, 2021 executive session and amended minutes of the July 12th, 2021 executive session.
Move to approve the executive session minutes of July 26, 2021, and amend the minutes of July 12, 2021 executive session.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Parker,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos,
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Thank you. Item number 9 is update Rock Island. Bear with me, there's a few things, which is positive, a lot of things happening. But we got Thursday Night Groove, free concert series in Schwiebert Park. The concert series will be held on the Ellis Kell stage at Schwiebert Park, Riverfront Park, every Thursday through September 23rd. At 6 p.m., food and beer sales begin, featuring the Rock Island Park concession stand, with brats and hot dogs, Happy Joe's Pizza, and beer sales by Bent River Brewing Company. The live concert performance will be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This Thursday, August 12th, North of 40 will perform, followed by the Stone Flowers. On August 19th, a complete schedule of performances can be found on the Rock Island Park and Rec website. You Make It My Weekend. You Make It My Weekend is back for 2021. Started in 1992, the event is a celebration of Caribbean culture with great food, live music, and activities for the entire family. The event will take place in downtown Rock Island on Saturday, August 14th at 4 p.m. Admission is $10, and kids 12 and under get in free. Highlights will include zip lining through the concrete jungle and a variety of reggae and steel drum music. Drive-in movie hosted by the Rock Island Park and Rec. Join the Rock Island Park and Recreation Department for a drive-in movie in the park on Saturday, August 14th. Raya, The Last Dragon, a family-friendly movie, will be the feature presentation at the Campbell's Sports Complex located at 8399 29th Street West, Rock Island. Gates will open for cars to park at 7:15 p.m. All cars must be parked by 8:15, for the movie will begin at dusk. The mobile concession stand, which will take cash only, will be available. Prior to the movie, fun activities will be offered by the Rock Island Library. For more information, visit the Rock Island Park and Recreation Facebook page. Floatzilla Challenge. Registration is open for the Rivers Actions annual paddle event on the Mississippi River, held August 21st, 2021. paddlers will launch from 5 sites across the Quad Cities to take over the river for the day. The U.S. Coast Guard will close the river and have a team of safety boats on the water to make sure everyone makes it to Lake Potter at Sunset Marina in Rock Island safely. At Lake Potter, there are a selection of local food trucks and live music for participants to enjoy. At 2:30 p.m., all participants will gather at the center of the lake for a huge group photo. After the picture, shuttles will be provided to return participants back to the launch sites. If you don't have a kayak or canoe, check out River Action's list of outfitters that serve Floatzilla. Outfitters will meet up with you at the launch point with the boat and then wait at Sunset Park to pick up after you finish paddling. Come out, have a great time, help set a world record. For more information, visit riveraction.org/Floatzilla. And the challenge is, once again, I put out there that Rock Island can have more registries to this event than Davenport or Moline or Bettendorf. So Rock Islanders here, please get registered, go out and enjoy the fun so we can beat those other cities and how many people the city of Rock Island has out there. And that concludes Update Rock Island. Give a proclamation.
Mayor, can I, one thing real quick?
Yes.
So I don't know if a lot of you may know or may not know, but we have a boxer from the Rock Island area, Rock Island Boxing Club, Rashawn Lee. He's actually taking place in the National Golden Gloves today in Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Oh.
So we want to wish him well. He's been doing marvelous things for the city of Rock Island.
Yeah, great, thank you.
He works up on 18th Avenue, doesn't he?
Yep.
I did, I saw him, yeah, great.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right, we got a proclamation.
Whereas Rock Island American Legion Post 200 Baseball, managed by Alleman High School head coach Jerry Burkhead, assisted by Rock Island High School head baseball coach Jake Scudder, Coach Robbie Burkhead, Coach Gary Wethington, Coach John Marks, and Coach Gary Hendren concluded their 2021 season with a record of 26 wins and 5 losses. That record does not fully reflect their accomplishments this season. And whereas this team is comprised of players from Rock Island High School, Alleman Catholic High School, and Rockridge High School, and whereas this team won the Peoria Legion Post 2 Invitational, and whereas this team won its 3rd consecutive Bridges Catering Veterans Cup against rival Moline Post 246, and whereas this team then qualified and won the Illinois American Legion Illinois State Championship in Danville, Illinois, and whereas this team represented the city of Rock Island, Alleman Catholic High School, Rock Island High School, Rockridge High School, and the state of Illinois at the Great Lakes Regional in Morgantown, West Virginia, and whereas with many key players returning, we can look forward to another successful season of Rock Island Post 200 baseball in the summer of 2022.
Now therefore, I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do hereby recognize the Rock Island American Legion Post 200 baseball team and proclaim August 9th, 2021 as Rock Island American Legion Post 200 Baseball Day in the City of Rock Island, and encourage all citizens to congratulate the team in many of its accomplishments. Is there somebody, the coach want to come, or somebody want to come up and talk about it real quick, or? Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, guys. Kind of put me on the spot here. Mr. Mersoni didn't tell me I have to talk tonight. Thanks. I got my 3 little guys here back there making all the noises. So thanks a lot for letting them come in tonight. We just got back in town a few days ago. We represent the Quad Cities and the city of Rock Island in West Virginia. We had a heck of a season. We came together as a team with multiple high schools. We made the city really proud. We started by winning the Moline High School or Moline Legion tournament, which is a big one for Rock Island to win. And then when the postseason began, we actually lost our first game. And after that, we had to go undefeated to continue playing on. And we won 5 games in a row, including beating Moline twice to win the division championship. After that, then we went to the state tournament, and we won 3 games down there, beating a team from South and also from the suburbs to become Illinois state champions. So I'm extremely proud of these players, these coaches. We had an amazing support system, and we made the city of Rock Island proud.
out there, if you guys are willing, and I'm not sure who in charge of the Labor Day parade, but I'd love to have you guys in the Labor Day parade if you want to do it.
Absolutely.
Come on up. You want to do a photo op?
Yeah, come on, guys, come on.
Squeeze in, guys.
Won't be a lot of them.
You're tall, buddy.
I'm here for an unrelated topic today, so it's good to hear that.
Appreciate you asking. Yeah, good.
Squeeze in.
Well, I agree with Reverend Miles.
Got it in there? Somebody heights it?
The tallest one. The tallest one. Yeah.
Before she walks out, I want to thank my wife as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. We have another proclamation, item number 11.
Whereas the City of Rock Island recognizes that hunger is a global challenge. In the United States, over 40 million, or 1 in 8 individuals, struggle with hunger. And whereas the City of Rock Island is committed to raising awareness for local efforts to combat this issue of food insecurity, as demonstrated by Nest Cafe, Nourish Everyone Sustainably Together. And whereas Nest Cafe will participate in National Everybody Eats Week, a week-long campaign hosted by One World Everybody Eats that aims to build community and dignity around food. And whereas Nest Cafe is improving lives at the local level by minimizing the number of hungry children, adults, and seniors in our community, National Everybody Eats Weeks aim to unify the efforts of over 50 affiliate Pay What You Can community cafes working to decrease hunger across the nation.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Mike Tomes, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, along with members of the City Council, do hereby August 22nd through August 28th, 2021, as National Everyone Eats Week in the City of Rock Island. Laura, you, oh, there she is. Come on up, why don't you talk a little bit about it?
Thanks so much, everybody. I don't feel quite as popular as the baseball team, but
This is important.
I appreciate this. We're Nest Cafe. I have some of our board members with us here, and Nest stands for Nourish Everyone Sustainably Together. Several of you have been at our pop-up events. You know what we're doing, but I appreciate this because by proclaiming the last week of August as National Everybody Eats Week, the City of Rock Island is joining small towns and big cities all over the country in acknowledging the issues of hunger and food insecurity, and addressing those issues with this nonprofit Pay What You Can cafe model. So Nest Cafe we're right here in Rock Island. We're really excited to be part of this National Everybody Eats Week. We do monthly pop-up events right now. Our next one is August 24th at Two Rivers United Methodist Church from 4:30 to 6:30. We have information about National Everybody Eats Week if anybody would like some. We have stickers for Nest Cafe, and we hope everyone will come out. We're currently looking for a permanent home, so we can do this on a daily basis. But hope you'll join us on the 24th and participate in National Everybody Eats Week. Go on our website, go on the One World Everybody Eats website, and learn a little bit more about hunger in our community and how we can address it. Thanks
Well,
so much.
I got to add that Laura came to my office, I don't know how long ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we talked about this. It was just an idea of hers to get started here in Rock Island or getting in the Quad Cities. And we talked through some of the logistics and things to get started. And both had some good thoughts on it. And your persistence on this deal is paying off. So thank you. I got to commend you for sticking with it. It's not easy, and you had some hurdles. And so I appreciate it. It's helping a lot of people.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Thanks so
Let's do
much.
it. Laura,
Bring your, Katie and the board, come on up.
come on in.
Laura, did I stand you correctly? One of 50 affiliates? You're one of 50? Whoops. Great. One of 50? Okay. It's pretty cool, one of 50.
All right. Oh, exciting news. We continue with item number 11, speaking of positive stuff.
Presentation by the Rock Island Fire Department commending Whitewater Junction staff and members of the Rock Island Fire Department for their actions.
Mayor, council members, thanks for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. This is a special night. On behalf of the Rock Island Fire Department, I would like to take this opportunity to formally recognize some first responders who made a difference in saving the life of a young woman who recently suffered a cardiac arrest event. On June 6th of this year, Breanne Ackerlin was enjoying a Sunday visit to Whitewater Junction when she suddenly collapsed. Staff from Whitewater Junction were alerted to the situation and immediately rendered aid while 911 was being called. She was found to be not breathing and had no pulse. Staff from Whitewater Junction promptly initiated CPR, which included performing chest compressions to pump her heart and using a bag valve mask to provide ventilations. They continued their life-saving efforts until crews from the Rock Island Fire Department arrived on scene, which included firefighter paramedics from Ambulance 31, Rescue 31, Truck 31, as well as our shift commander. Fire department personnel continued to perform CPR while also initiating advanced life support measures. During this time, staff from Whitewater Junction continued to provide assistance to our members. After several minutes of life-saving measures by those on scene, Ms. Ackerlin regained a pulse and started to breathe on her own. She was stabilized on scene and quickly transported to the hospital, where she continued to receive care from the staff in the emergency department and as well as cardiology staff in the cath lab. Because of the life-saving efforts of those involved, Ms. Ackerlin is here with us tonight. She wanted to thank each of the first responders in person and assist me in presenting them with the award. So I can't tell you how glad I am she's here with us tonight. So at this time, it is my honor to present awards to the following. From Whitewater Junction, Mackenzie Krieger. Well, you want to all do them together? Okay. Yeah. Also from Whitewater Junction, Reina Garcia. Also from Whitewater Junction, Corey Clemens Jr. And certainly last but not least, Ryan Ballard, the aquatics manager for Whitewater Junction. Unfortunately, we could not have all of the firefighter paramedics in attendance, but this evening we are joined by the following members: firefighter Corbin Ayers, firefighter Anthony Schooley, and Lieutenant Eric Bopes. Those who cannot be with us tonight: firefighter Sean Hansen, firefighter Tom Sicardi, Captain Nick Thompson, and Battalion Chief Terry Smith. But thank you again for all of your efforts, and I'm sure she appreciates, and I do too as well. So, thanks.
Get in tight. You guys don't want a photo bomb? I think there's enough behind in front of me.
Right in the middle of the road, there you go.
I'm better off than backing up, I think.
All right, thanks.
My turn. I think that was everybody with predictions. Oh, I can hold the door. That's the least I can do.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. So many positive things happening. It's just wonderful to see. Item number 12.
An ordinance amending Chapter 16, Article 3, Section 16-34 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing a water rate increase of 5.5% for all user classes each year through 2025, effective September 1st, 2021. First reading.
Move to consider the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
So there's been a lot of discussion on social media about the rates and the charges and what they mean. So Randy, if you could explain, the public is confused about what the fixed meter charge is. And then there's a couple other questions they've been asking online too.
So the fixed meter charge is basically just a service charge, so that's the charge to be hooked up to the City of Rock Island water system. And then the rate charge is based on how much water you use.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions over why the service charge to be hooked up is so high. One other question that's been posted online or statement: is there a $5 million balance in the water fund?
I think it was 4.1, if I remember right, at the end of last year, but if you remember, we've been building up that fund to start paying for the debt on the new water filtration building.
Right.
So those debts are just starting to be paid. Matter of fact, we're not final on that yet with the final billing on that. So that was on purpose to build that up.
Right. So, well, yeah, but you can,
Yes, it was positive.
yeah. Do you have any idea the current balances in the sewer and stormwater funds? Are they positive or negative?
The stormwater fund is approximately 1.1 million. And the sewer fund, I think the last time it was just over 2.5 million, but there's a $3 million expenditure coming out as part of the work that's being done in at the sewer plant right now.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
Well, while we're talking about the subject matter, I think that it's important that the city council, staff, the public have, at least in our, in our thoughts, if not a public discussion about these rates and what actually we're trying to accomplish with these rates. In my opinion, these rates are barely sufficient just to maintain the infrastructure. Frankly, it's not enough to maintain the infrastructure. Nobody likes to pay higher rates. However, we have to have a conversation about what we actually want here. And the reality is, long-term, when you're looking at this 20, 50-year perspectives, we're spending more money by having a reactive system that primarily goes and patches, blown mains and things like that, right? Now, the solution is not easy. I mean, as Alderwoman Gilbert just commented on, there's plenty of public comment about even raising it 5.5%. But, the reality is we have to be honest with what we're doing. We don't have a asset management program in this city, whether for the water system or the roads or whatever. Because frankly, if we were to have one, we would have to prioritize maintenance and not allowing things to get to the point where they're so catastrophic that you have to replace them, which is more expensive than maintenance. But the way in which most of the time we prioritize things is immediate reaction. There's a pothole right here. You need to fix it. And most of us are programmed to public input, if you will. The loudest person, we just go fill their pothole because they're the loudest complainer. But really, that's not a very, that's not maintaining our infrastructure very well. So I don't necessarily have the solution. I just want the public and everyone up here to keep in mind that this isn't sufficient. And I know that the federal government is having a discussion about infrastructure right now. And I bet you when we built all this infrastructure that we have to maintain now, 100 years ago, there was a lot more federal support for building it. And then all that dried up, and now we're left holding the bag, and we can't afford to do so. So just something for us to consider moving forward. This is an increase. Nobody likes increases, but in my opinion, it's not high enough to really maintain our water system to the way that we all want it to be, right? Where we're not spending more money by just emergency repairs versus maintaining it. So thank you very much for entertaining my soapbox.
All right. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 13.
An ordinance amending Chapter 16, Article 3, Section 16-85 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing a wastewater rate increase of 4.5% for all user classes each year through 2025, effective September 1st, 2021. First reading.
Motion to consider the ordinance?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 14.
An ordinance amending Chapter 16, Article 5, Section 16-905 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing a stormwater rate increase for all user classes each year through 2025, effective September 1st, 2021. First reading.
Move to consider the ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 15.
Claims A through G. First A, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment number 1 in the amount of $32,348 to Green Space Associates, Davenport, Iowa, for services provided from April 30th through June 30th, 2021, as part of the 2021 sod replacement program, Project 2141.
Motion to approve claims, item A.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries. B, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $15,829.57 to Valley Construction, Rock Island, Illinois, for an emergency storm sewer repair at 2600 17th Street. C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $7,244.06 to McClintock Trucking and Excavating Incorporated, Silvis, Illinois, for services provided from April 1st through April 4th, 2021, at 3223 9th Avenue as part of the Sewer Lateral Repair Program, Project 2564. D, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $90,204.86 to Walter D. Laud Incorporated, East Moline, Illinois, for work performed under their contract between May 19th and July 9th, 2021, as part of the 35th Street Water Main Replacement, Project 2833. E, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $235,077.30 to Langman Construction Company, Rock Island, Illinois, for work performed under contract between May 12th and June 14th, 2021, as part of the Black Hawk Hills Drive and River Heights Reconstruction, Project 2815. F, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $121,875.46 to Langman Construction Company, Rock Island, Illinois, for work performed under contract between June 14th and June 18th, 2021, as part of the Levee Maintenance Riprap Replacement, Project 2841. And G, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $494,689.45 to Walter D. Laud Incorporated, East Moline, Illinois, for services provided from March 19th through June 14th, 2021, as part of the 2020 and 2021 Sidewalk and Pavement Patching Program, Projects 2140, 2142, 2377, 2411, and 2434.
Move to approve claims items B through G.
Second. Moved and second. Any discussion?
I need to recuse myself from this vote due to the nature of my employment.
I have a question. So Randy, on Public Works payments, especially when there was a contract awarded, we used to have payment numbers or like payment number 1 and final if there was just one payment, like they just didn't bill us till the end in the memos. Is there some reason we're not numbering payments anymore?
Not that I know of. We can put that back in.
I'd
It
appreciate
should be in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 16.
Claims for the week of July 16th through July 22nd, 2021, in the amount of $505,557.47. The week of July 23rd through July 29th, 2021, in the amount of $2,255,056.73. And payroll for the weeks of July 12th through July 25th, 2021, in the amount of $1,584,936.01.
Move to allow the claims and payroll.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 17.
Report from the Police Department regarding bids to purchase new gas masks and filters, recommending the bid be awarded to Protex Sales, Berea, Ohio, in the amount of $29,852.40.
Move to award the bid as recommended and authorize the purchase.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
I have some questions for the chief about the purchase.
Well, it's on the contract. You didn't need to unless you want to choose this. He may wanna come.
So Chief, could you explain when the police department uses gas masks and how many are being purchased as part of this contract?
The gas masks we used were issued back in roughly 2001 as part of an ILEAS award to all Illinois police agencies throughout the state in conjunction with the 9/11 incidents. So we're provided escape masks for critical incidents. The masks have various filter for nuclear, biological, and chemical attacks. We utilize the masks primarily for emergency response team operations where we may need to introduce gas, but they're also quantified as an escape mask so we can escape from catastrophes, more or less.
Okay. So how many are being purchased?
I don't recall the exact amount, but enough to outfit every member of the police department. I believe it's 81.
So what is the shelf life of the masks and the filter? You said the
Well,
last ones were issued.
The last one were issued in around 2001, so, we're 20 years.
Years? Okay, thank you
That
very
may
much.
be a little long, though.
Yeah, I would think.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
All right, roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 18.
Report from the Human Resources Department regarding the approval of a 5-year labor agreement with AFSCME-A.
Move to approve the proposed 5-year labor agreement between the city and AFSCME-A Local 988 for the period January 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2024.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
So I have some questions about the contract and information that has usually been provided to council but wasn't with this contract. So typically, we're provided a comparison chart of the increases with the other contracts. We're also provided a total cost of the elements in this particular contract and every contract that we approved. So that was not,
We just did the AFSCME-B. I don't remember that as being part of that, but we can go back
well,
and
no,
look.
it's not something that's made public. It's not an attachment to this, but it is provided to council.
I don't remember giving that to council, but I apologize if we didn't give something.
Maybe John did.
May have, yeah,
recall.
like I said, I
Yeah.
don't recall.
I don't recall.
So the other major question I have, in the memo that was provided, effective calendar year 2021, any employee resigning with a minimum of 20 years of continuous service can receive up to 1,920 hours towards additional IMRF pension service credit. So we're offering an additional 48 weeks, almost a year of retirement credit to members who have 20 years or more service.
Well, so it's cashing in the sick leave. Currently, they get 50%, and this would take it up to 100%, up to the maximum allowed by IMRF.
But that's not what it says in the memo, and that's not what it says in the contract relative to sick leave. It says additional retirement leave.
It says it in the contract. What page are you looking at? And I have
Go back
Nick
and look
Hartman
at
here
it.
from AFSCME that will be able to answer any questions also.
You want to answer that?
It has to do with the sick leave payout, though.
Hi, I'm Nick Hartman. I'm obviously an employee of the city of Rock Island. I'm also the president of Local 988. As far as the sick leave question, there are currently 3 different ways that an employee receives some sort of benefit when they retire for sick leave. the older employees that were hired prior to 1988, they receive 50% of their accrued sick leave, whatever they have on the books. Obviously, they must have it, as a cash severance payment. And then the other 50% goes towards IMRF credit. IMRF only allows 1 year of service credit through sick leave by law. The second way that sick leave has been passed out to employees that retire was that they received 50% of their accrued leave towards IMRF credit, and then the other 50% disappeared. They didn't receive anything for it. Under this new contract, any employee that has accrued sick leave up to what's allowed by IMRF, which is the number they've calculated is 1,920 hours. Obviously, an employee must have that time on the books. It's not just given to them, of course. Then that is able to be cashed into, cashed in is not the right word, but moved towards IMRF service credit, which is 1 year service. And then anything above that 1,920 hours would be lost to the employee. So the employee obviously must have that time on the books. The city's not handing a retired employee 2,000 hours, so to speak. So employee, that's the agreement we came to with the city over our 2 years of negotiating. So
It's on page 11 of the contract.
Right.
So basically what will happen is most of the older individuals that are working for the city are nearly gone, so nobody will be receiving any cash payments anymore, which I'm sure is a financial strain on the city. Some individuals probably take home a $20,000 or $30,000 check. I'm not sure. I'm not one of those individuals.
What are you saying? I didn't understand that 20 or 30,000.
So I think, if there's some employees who do not, some of the older employees hired before 1988 who may have never or rarely ever used any sick leave could have
Up to 20 or
3,000
30,000
hours of sick leave or so on the books, and they would receive half of that in a cash payment, which I'm sure is pretty significant.
Okay.
I'm not privy to what it is, but it could be anywhere probably from $20,000 to $30,000. So the city won't be paying that anymore, which is, I'm sure a relief. But I guess the incentive was to obviously reduce any sick leave usage if there is a lot, and kind of reward employees that don't use sick leave with at least receiving something towards their IMRF payment or retirement. So,
Do you know how many employees this will affect over the life of the contract, the 5 years?
So there are approximately 70, I'm going to say 75 employees under the AFSCME contract. I will say within the next 5 years, less than 5 people will be affected by this. Most of the workforce now is people who have 35 plus years of service, maybe 2 or 3 or 4. Those people will fall under the old plan where they receive a half cash payout. Then there's a few folks like myself who are right in the middle at about 20, 25 years of service. And then everybody else is kind of like 5 to 8 years of service. Very few people will be falling under this plan, I would say, in the next 5 to 10 years. It will be longer from now.
I appreciate your clarification.
Thank you.
I wish it had been in the memo.
Okay. We got a roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Yes.
5-0, motion carries.
Item 19.
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding an extension of the purchase agreement for the previously executed sale of city-owned property, parcel 11192-3, to the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, for $1 plus closing costs in lieu of other economic development incentives.
Motion to approve the requested amendment to purchase the contract in accordance with the attached amendment, subject to minor attorney modifications, and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
I have a question for Nathan.
While it's coming up, I got to recuse myself from this one due to the nature of my employment.
This one's a little closer to home.
Kinda.
So Nathan, could you please explain how the department determines the selling price of parcels? I know the price has already been set, but like, for example, in this example, we're selling a parcel for $1, and we've had various residents that have come through that are buying vacant lots next to them to add to their side yard, and they pay hundreds of dollars. So I'm just curious what the process is in determining the price or the value of lots that you're selling, parcels you're selling.
This dates back to 2020, prior to
Right.
me being here, and I'm not sure what specifically was negotiated at that time. I can tell you that the residential properties that have residentially zoned properties that have come before you, that the city has sold for a dollar, are typically $1 plus the closing costs.
Okay. Do you have any policy in writing on how we determine this? Do you know, or could you check?
There is a policy. We can get that to council.
I'd
Yes, we can.
appreciate it. Thank you.
There's one, a lot of economic development type stuff, is that most commercial properties, like this local 150, is going to produce quite a few dollars in property tax, like a number of other, businesses we've done, and we have different incentives, whether it be a tax rebate, property tax rebate, or TIF monies and that sort of thing. So this is basically doing that, the cost of that property is our incentive into it.
Right.
Versus residential that doesn't produce as much.
Right.
And so
Know what they're doing with this parcel?
they're going to it hopes to build a brand-new building on it, their hall, for their meeting hall, and also offer it potentially for venues for weddings or whatever.
They own the hall currently across the road, not in Lucia Road, but the road to our treatment plant, and it is in a flood zone.
Oh,
So that's why
okay.
they asked. This is a property we acquired at some point via a trade of a property with the state. It used to be owned by the state.
Right. I thought, yeah, because of the location.
Yeah.
Just that information would have been helpful for new aldermen.
Yes.
I definitely would love to have that information also, because I know some of my residents have inquired about buying properties, and they've been told different prices from $10,000 to $600 to $1. So I understand there's a difference, but, if the city owned, if they're buying it, it's coming back on the rolls as a taxable item. So that's
Yep,
the
and
benefit.
and I'll send the policy out to you.
Gotcha.
And again, it depends what's happening on the property.
Right.
Right.
If there's
If they're building a
home-
house, it could be part of the home program. If they're just buying a vacant lot, just have a vacant lot next to them, it could be different, but I'll send you the policy.
Thank you.
And I think on this one, a key item is in lieu of other economic development incentives. So they're getting a reduced price in lieu of us giving them other incentives that they would normally get.
Correct.
Thank you, Nathan.
Yeah, and I would just note in closing that the reason that they're asking for some additional time is to do some additional due diligence regarding the floodplain and to ensure sensitivity to the ecology and the site itself. That's something that they are particularly interested in, which not everybody is. So we're happy that they're taking the additional time to take some of those natural features of the site into account as they are considering how to develop the site.
Oh, yeah, I think it's great. I have no objection to it. I just kind of wondered what the policy was and how we determine price.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
5-0, motion carries.
Item number 20.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a lease renewal agreement with the renter of the Sunset Marina apartment.
Move to approve the lease as written and authorize the city manager to execute the lease agreement.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 21,
Report from the Finance Department regarding the municipal compliance reports for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020, from the Police Pension Fund and the Fire Pension Fund.
Move to accept the reports as recommended.
Second.
moved and second. Any discussion?
We skipped one? No, okay.
Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 22,
Report from the City Attorney regarding legal deficiencies in the proposed Police Community Relations Commission ordinance.
Motion to put the proposed Police Commission Relations Commission ordinance on the agenda.
Second.
moved and second. Any discussion?
I have a question. Weren't we informed that this is not a legal commission?
If you want me to address that, yes, we were asked on July 12th, we were asked to take a look at a proposal, that specific document, and to give an opinion about whether or not we felt that it complied with the various laws. And we came up with the information that we provided to council regarding at least 3 areas of concern. And you probably will remember Alderman Geenan really actually had brought these up initially. He consulted with, I think, some retired judges possibly and some lawyers that are also in the 7th Ward. And he had presented those concerns during that first meeting, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I think he circulated that information. So as much as I'd like to tell you that we came up with these originally, actually we just concur with those opinions. And I would be happy to discuss those. And Hector also, who did the research on a lot of this, is here as well, we can explain what our concerns are. Now, when we're asked to look at a document, we're asked to look at a specific document, and you say, do you think this document would be upheld if it were challenged legally? That doesn't mean we're giving an opinion that you could not have a commission, because in fact, as has been pointed out, there are other communities who do have these types of commissions, but they don't have the kind of deficiencies that we have in this particular document, or at least the ones that we are concerned about. The state's attorney showed up at our last meeting, and one of the concerns is that it contemplates using investigation information from the Joint Integrity Task Force. That includes 7 different law enforcement groups. We have the county sheriff, the state police, Moline PD, East Moline PD, Silvis PD, and the Rock Island PD. That was an agreement that was originally, I think, signed in 2008, and it's between those 7 parties. It would be what they call ultra vires, or beyond the power of any single city council to say, we now are going to take the information from that agreement without the other 6 parties agreeing to it. So in other words, just as Moline PD could not, Moline City Council could not say, we're going to have access to the Integrity Task Force investigations and reports, we can't do that either, because it's a joint agreement. I've got a copy of that agreement for anybody who'd like to take a look at it, but that's the first concern we have. The second concern is related to that, and that is when there are an investigation conducted by the Integrity Task Force, that there may be HIPAA information that's involved. There may also be protected employee information. There's a specific act, actually, that protects personnel records and personnel files for employees. So there's a concern that it could be a violation of those various privacy protection acts as well.
Dave, I don't want to cut you off, but are we talking about the same draft? Because
I
it seems
was-
like we're talking about the first initial draft where,
This-
when we
well-
came to study session, a lot of that was taken out. And excuse me from beating up the mic. A lot of that was taken out,
Well-
where there's no investigative, requirement we're looking for, or they're looking for within this commission. This commission is solely intended to work hand in hand with the police and the community involved in different issues. They're not investigating. That word was used, that terminology was used in the initial draft, where they were looking to investigate incidents related to the task force. But that was since removed when we had the study session.
Well, I can't speak to, all I can speak to is that I was reading to it from a two-page document entitled Version 2.0, dated July 1st, 2021, which was emailed to me actually by Alderman Parker during the July 12th meeting. That was the one that I was asked to look at. That's the one I reviewed. I've got a copy of it here. And so that was the most recent version that I was aware of.
Does that use investigative powers in it?
Says, to review the internal investigation of all cases where officers are subject to review from the Rock Island County Task Force.
Yeah,
And that it
perhaps, again, sorry to interrupt, but perhaps what I'm hearing a lot of what's going on here is that we are arguing semantics.
Is that what it
And we
is?
are not understanding what one another are meaning by terms like review, right? It's very vague. It's review. It doesn't mean that this, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but by saying to review the internal investigations of all cases where officers is or are subjected to review from the Rock Island County Integrity Task Force, does that legally empower this commission with subpoena rights or any sort of legal power to do anything?
Well,
That's not what they're looking for.
When I read that in connection with the last sentence that says, the commission will not include case-sensitive information to the public that is not already a matter of public record, that certainly sounds like something that's beyond what is foiable to me. When I read those together,
Yeah, but is there anything in the first sentence? Okay, great, so the commission will not include case-sensitive information to the public. But, from what I'm hearing from those that are wanting this commission, essentially, it sounds like they would like a commission that could go to the task force and say, hey, what happened here? There's no legal power for them to say, you have to tell us what happened here, you have to do this or whatever, but an opportunity to engage in dialogue. As if it were a nonprofit organization coming off the street saying, can we talk to you?
If I may, there's a time and a place for that discussion, and that time and place is after the decision is rendered by the state's attorney. Based upon the information, I can't vote in favor of this based upon the information that I'm seeing now. If it is a community relations, I'm all for it. I will back them up 100%. But if it is an investigatory, which at least from my perspective, at this point in time, I see this as an end around for an investigative tool, and I respect my colleagues here, but I can't vote in favor of that because again, there are certain things in there that I think are not foiable. Specifically, we hire a department head. It's called the police chief, and he looks at those personnel files. And if he has an officer that is not conducting or not acting within the best interest of the city of Rock Island or the Rock Island Police Department, I can assure you that that officer's tenure in the police department will be short-lived. I've seen it happen. I respect the integrity of our administrative branch in the police department. They are, in my humble opinion, above reproach. And if you can show me a time when they weren't, I'll back you up. I will stay open-minded to that. But from what I have been told, from what I have seen personally and experienced personally in 33 years, and since I've retired since there, and have known about issues that have gone on, our department is, our being the city of Rock Island, not just my department, my retired department, but the city of Rock Island. We need to look at these individuals and say, hey, what can we do together? And as I recall, that conversation was attempted and was shot down. So I would like to see a little bit more, if we want a police-community relationship, then let's develop a police-community relationship, but from what I understand, this document is not it.
This is a concern I have with this. We have the citizens who have stepped up to do something that we haven't done. We don't have this. This is something that we've been needing for a while. After talking to the chief, he has tried different avenues to try to get the community involved. It works for a while and then it falls apart. The difference with this is that you have people that have volunteered to be on a board or a commission that will stay, whatever their term is, to fulfill the mission through. It's different than just having meetings and then having people come at will. These are people who have committed to this. I think it's a difference in opinion, and we're going way into the weeds on this versus what its intended purpose is. Its intended purpose is to bring the police, the community together.
And under those,
But so let me stop you real quick. When we had the study session, the question was asked, do you have any questions in regard to this commission? Nothing was stated. So that's why we moved forward with it. But now we're having all these discussions after the fact.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt here.
Please do.
Okay, because I brought up a concern about the hiring aspect, being involved in hiring and promotions. And I did bring up a comment about perhaps a mentoring program would be better instead of that. And when I looked at this document, we're all going to be involved in the hiring and promotion. And I don't understand how that is promoting goodwill between the community and the police department if the commission is involved in those kind of agreements.
It's involved. They're involved because you have some citizens who want to be police officers, but they're finding roadblocks. They're not understanding.
And
it's
I
not
understand
clear.
that, and that's
so
the
that's
purpose
why
of
they're
a
feeling
mentoring
that if they have a commission, and we're making this assumption that the commission, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's just going to be one-sided. This is not a way to attack the police department. That's what we got to get out of our head. This is not a designed way to attack the police department. It's a designed way to help empower the community and the police department. This is a way to bring the two together. We got to get out of that mindset it's a us versus them again, because that's what's coming up right now. That's not what this is for.
Alderman Robinson, I agree with you 100%. What I'm saying is the way the document is presented to me right now, and I haven't, if there's a new document, I don't have it. And I would greatly love to see the new document.
This is the issue I have, though. So within the couple of months that I've been here, I haven't seen a clean document that we approved yet. Usually when we approve something on the agenda, it's fine-tuned after the fact. What's the difference in this case? Because I'm not understanding what is so hard about having this commission.
For my understanding, 4 different people, elected officials, submitted some adjustments after the study session. And those have not been taken into account in this in the version that we're talking about.
So
I mean, it says those should be taken into an account.
I put it like this. There's a motion.
After
There's
the
a
meeting.
motion on the floor. I made the motion. It was seconded. So I think we should go with the vote and go from there.
Well, let me just, were there other issues, Dave?
For the question, we can't have further discussion.
Call the question.
No, hang on real quick. I think there was more issues that legal disagreed with than just what
Right
they
terminology?
read.
And when you say disagree with, I don't think that.
Okay.
If someone is to challenge this, then it's going to come to us to defend it. And someone is going to say, well, if you didn't think it was going to pass, why did you say it was okay? And so what we did was we looked at these various issues, and then the third issue that we come up with is regarding the delegation of authority, and that's in the first paragraph, paragraph A, that talks about the resolution appointing a liaison who would be on the board, as I understand it anyway. And the Supreme Court and other lower courts have held that you cannot you cannot point that power to an outside agency. So that's a third concern that we have. And once again, that doesn't mean you can't have a commission, and we're not. That's a policy decision. We're just trying to look at the document as it's presented to us, and that those concerns are the same concerns that were addressed with Alderman Geenan initially, with when he consulted with some outside individuals who are involved in the legal community, and confirmed by our research. And Hector, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just real quickly to Alderman Parker's question about gathering information, investigating, and integrity task force matters. The way the intergovernmental agreement is written now, the city that is the subject of an integrity task force investigation cannot have involvement in the integrity task force investigation. So for the city of Rock Island to say, well, we're not involved except we're involved, it runs flatly contrary to an existing agreement that's negotiated multilaterally and that we can't change lawfully by ordinance.
So wait, let's just pause on that point right there. So that would only apply for instances where a Rock Island police officer were being investigated by the County Integrity Task Force, right?
Correct.
So what's the difference between any other department, the police department itself, from being told you can't be involved in that investigation, and this body with respect to instances that include Rock Island police officers, I guess? Well, I mean, why can't they generally say, how did you come to your conclusions? I mean, I guess, how are we defining being involved?
Well, you draw attention to a significant weakness in the document.
Okay.
The fundamental power that is vested in this commission is gathering data.
Right.
And there are no limitations on that power contained in the document. Gathering data and investigating are fundamentally synonymous in the law. And undertaking investigatory powers without restriction in the context of a situation where exercise of investigatory powers is prohibited by multilateral agreement is not going to survive a court challenge.
So what about the fact that we have a Human Rights Commission that by ordinance is empowered to investigate instances of discrimination, for example, and yet the Human Rights Commission can't even get a landlord to respond, right? But yet we have an ordinance that empowers them to investigate these things, but, I mean, what's the difference with that versus a commission that's tasked with, without any sort of subpoena power or any sort of explicit legal authority to do anything? What's the difference between that and this?
Okay, to your first point, and I don't know to the extent to which this is known, but Dave and I have met with the Human Rights Commission. We are drawing a Human Rights Commission ordinance, and there have been several drafts that went back and forth, and they were sent to the legal department for review, and Dave and I said, this can't possibly work, it's unlawful. And the Human Rights Commission said, well, you draw us one that'll work. And we've made significant progress towards a draft that the commission will bring to the council.
Okay.
So I think that addresses a large part of your first concern.
Other than the fact, I guess, the point of me bringing that up was if they effectively, at this current time, the Human Rights Commission and this commission have the same legal authority, they have an ordinance that says they exist, and yet they both have the same inability to actually investigate, but you're not telling me that the Human Rights Ordinance is illegal, but you're telling me that this ordinance is illegal. What's the difference?
Okay. The difference is the language used. And we're talking about enacting laws, right? And it's not about intentions, and it's not about, people having ill will or us versus them or anything like that. It's the words on the paper.
Right.
And the legal department has taken a long and serious look at the words on the paper, and for several reasons, those that, including unlawful delegation of mayoral authority that's reserved explicitly by statute and has been acknowledged for over 100 years of Illinois precedent.
Sure.
Can't do that. It's just contrary to law.
Yep.
Appointment of non-real persons to the commission. You can't do that. That's contrary to law. You have to have an actual breathing person, not a corporation, not a partnership, not some kind of other legal entity.
Sure.
Those are the words on the page those are among the words on the page that simply cannot pass legal muster. Now, that said, this city council has the authority to enact whatever ordinance it votes upon.
Right.
the legal department's just telling you that if you do enact the ordinance that has been presented, it will not be a lawful enactment. And Dave and I will spend a lot of time in court talking about that.
So, I'm sorry, but this goes back to my original question. Why wasn't the legal department advising us from the start, May 24th, the study session, when it was first presented, and saying, here are problematic areas?
And we did address in speaking what were the problematic areas. We were not asked to draft something or to look at a draft at that point. The draft that we were asked to look at came on July 12th, and we were asked to get an opinion within 2 weeks.
So could we not replicate what has happened between the Human Rights Commission and your office and this effort?
If the council tasks us with generating an ordinance that we believe will pass legal muster, we will gladly shoulder that task. Absolutely.
Because I would wager that, you know, again, I think we're talking semantics, and you are our attorneys, this is why we hire you. If you're telling us that we can't use that specific word, then figure out what other word we need to have here to make it legal, but also fulfill the mission of what we're trying to get done here.
Sure.
Right? So, I mean.
And there's about 2 or 3 other items in there they want to rework too.
And so when we looked at these, we consulted with IML, and we also looked at other communities that do have similar ordinances. I mean, and that was all part of the review process. And I think that we would be happy to do, and I thought we made good progress in working with the Human Rights Commission on those same issues, and we would certainly be happy to do that in this case as well.
However, that's not the motion. The motion is the proposed Police Community Relations Commission, which, again, I love the idea. I love the idea of bringing the police and the community together. This document doesn't fulfill that goal. And I would be happy to talk to whomever to try, and would be willing to work with them. But again, this document is
We did have the state's attorney concur for the most part with our attorneys, and also then some retired judges and that sort of thing also concurred that there were some issues on here that were of concern.
I just want to make a statement that this is the reason why you have the community who see the barrier between the city. When you have the community that is trying to come together and put two individuals, or not individuals, my wording is wrong. They're trying to put a patch on the issues we have in our city, and they're faced with nothing but roadblocks. If this is the case, we have to be more open in working with the individuals who are taking out their time. And again, there could have been totally different ways if they really wanted to attack the police department. That's not what the intention is. And I wish you guys would get that out of your thoughts. That's not the intention. The intention of this is to bring together the police department, the citizens, and to continue to figure out ways of how we can grow as one. The city, some of our citizens don't trust us. That's a real big issue that we're ignoring. They don't trust us. And when we do things like this, I understand it's wording. It's just wording. But when you don't really reach out and from the beginning, when the initial draft came in, when the study session came in, we were looking for how to appropriately word this. It wasn't done. So they had to do it their own way. And now we're just criticizing everything they've done so far. I understand that if the wording is wrong, hey, let's work out with the organization who's trying to fix this and do our job, because they're doing this on their own. Let's try to work with them and get this done. It's that simple. They're trying to help us. They're not looking for money from us. They're not looking for anything but sides. They want to be here to help. That's it. That's the whole part of this commission. They want to solve the issues that we are currently having, because we don't have a solution for it. There's nothing on the books. We don't have anything. So this is something brand new. And I understand change is difficult for some individuals. That's cool. But we have to be able to, think outside the box and figure out how we can continue to work with agencies, organizations, individuals, citizens who want to try to actually come up with a plan. And that's what they're doing at this point. And I just feel that this being this stonewall. That's just my opinion.
I think you make a good point. I think one of the things that we probably have failed to forget is that this initiative came as a result of community members coming together, doing work, writing stuff for us, coming to us, practicing active listening. What do you guys think? We'd like to go back and redraft it for you. Celebrating the work, but we're asking for community members to be engaged and produce something. Remember all of the energy that happened at the beginning of that?
Right.
And here we are tonight discussing what we're going to do with it. Just as we said, my ward was very engaged in this at the beginning. They really ran through those two documents and provided some input that I shared with all of council. I too share with your frustration that we're now asking, we want more information. We've been presented an opportunity for the whole past 2 months to meet and have opportunities to do. I feel like I fulfilled my end of the bargain.
I wonder if we could amend the motion to put the proposed police commission ordinance on the agenda after it has been reworked by the attorneys in conjunction with the group putting this forward.
How about we just states pending legal changes, or, because I don't want to take it off the agenda tonight. I think this needs to be voted on tonight. If there's changes that need to be made, we can word that in the motion so we continue to work forward, because I just feel it's going to continue to get pushed back further and further.
Correct, that's what I was asking for.
Alderman Robinson, and I would like to see this continued to be a public process,
Right.
too, not done behind closed doors.
All right, so is there any amendment to the motion?
Somebody help me with the wording.
Well, yeah, hold on here. So if we continue with the vote as it is,
Yep.
we are making a motion to put the proposed, which is the, proposed is this version 2.0 dated July 1st, 2021. As far as we've got, that's what this is. So that, we would be voting to put that document on the agenda next time. But it sounds like the intention is to have legal work with the, the public and us to come up with how can we make this legal effectively? So I don't think we want to continue with the motion as it currently, put the proposed ordinance on the agenda because we want to modify it, right? It occurs to me that perhaps we should put together a task force of sorts. There's a legal difference between a task force and a commission, right? There's your legal wordiness. 2 alder people or 1 alder person and the mayor, so we don't violate OMA. Representatives from the public who want this thing to.
Why not make it subject to OMA, where it is public?
Oh, okay, sure, fine, we can. Whoever wants to participate in the meetings, I guess. But it sounds to me like we need to come up with a process by which we are going to negotiate what this looks like, where we can get to a legally defensive ordinance that also does what we want it to do. So how do we develop that process?
I think, once again, one way is to either modify the motion or withdraw it or vote it down, one of those 3, and then ask the city attorneys to sit down with whatever appointed individuals to a task force to work on a document.
Because there's 2 things. There's legal and there's policy. And if we're having a policy disagreement, that has to be decided by us.
Right.
If we're having a legal disagreement, then that can be done by
That's right.
Dave and Hector. So we need to
I
understand.
don't think there's anyone, though, that doesn't want a police-community relationship group. I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want that. I mean, my concern is there's no sense in putting one together if we are challenged in court and we spend all this money defending it and we lose. I would rather move forward with something that is legally defensible, because I think we all agree we want something and need something.
Yeah, I agree. I think, and we're going in circles here, but what is involved in police, relations, community police relations? Because in my thought, the ability to talk about policy should be something, right? Maybe the commission can't write policy, but to talk to the police department about policies, right? They should be able to have those types of dialogues about what's your policy for this, et cetera, right? Are we in agreement that that
Well, and-
is something that the commission should be able to do?
And the citizens have that right to come in and ask the police department, bring as many as they can fit into the community room.
Right.
And say, what is your policy on this? Can you explain this to us? And I've never known them to say, leave because we don't know. If people want to know, citizens want to know, if we want to know, we have the ability to go in there and sit in as citizens because, again, that's what we are. We're representatives of the citizens. And we can say, you know, we don't understand this policy. Explain, please. And then if it's a policy, if there's a problem, then council can set a policy if it's needed.
Or legal.
Or legal. Well, specifically legal.
So we have, like I said, I guess there's several ways if we want to modify the motion, if we want to withdraw it, or let it, and let it, or take a vote and it potentially.
Well, as Alderman Parker so eloquently said, the motion right now is with the document 2.0.
As it is right now.
As it is.
So we can take a vote on that and see where it goes, or we can amend it and
Well,
say that the
without
modification-
amending the motion,
We can withdraw it and then make a new motion.
I personally would prefer that it be withdrawn and a new motion made so that we have record that it will be on the agenda at some future point.
Is it possible for us to remove the word proposed, and then just at the next council meeting, we're going to have an ordinance about the police community relations commission?
Yeah, whether you can do it in 2 weeks, I don't know, but get it done in 2 weeks.
You could say you're going to put something on the agenda within 2 weeks. If you're asking whether or not that can be completed in 2 weeks, I don't know. It would depend, it's going to depend on what is requested and what can be illegal. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball to know what will be requested and whether we can make that fit into a legal framework, you know?
And everybody involved in that timeline.
I understand.
I've always been taught that, you know, you put your time and energy what you really want. So if we want it in 2 weeks, we can get it in 2 weeks. You put your time and energy in what you really want. So it's up to us. We can't keep complaining about we don't have anything when, listen, it's not perfect, but it's something that we have in front of us. It's something that we can easily make sure it's going to do what we are looking for it to do. But we're making it seem like this is just the worst thing ever, and it's not possible. That's the feeling I'm getting. Maybe I'm wrong. I might be taking it the wrong way, but that's the way I'm feeling. I feel that we're just making it seem like this is going to just be an immediate attack on our law enforcement officers, and that's further from the truth. You know, we're making it seem like it's going to be every worst case possible is going to come to this commission, and they're going to back everything. Further from the truth. This is a way to try to bring in individuals who don't trust us and have a conversation with the police department, with the city council, whoever's on that commission. It's a way to build trust. We're having a very hard time getting past that initial stage. I understand the wording might be wrong. Okay, let's fix the wording. But again, if it's all about your interests. If you really are interested in doing this and don't just give it the fluff, we will do it in 2 weeks if that's what it takes.
I think we have to be respectful of our city attorney's time.
I got it.
Because they're
I got
working
that.
on a lot of things,
I got
helping
that.
the city. So, I mean, I think we need to defer to Dave and Hector and find out what they feel is an appropriate time that they would have something ready. I think 2 weeks is really pushing it in light of everything the city's got going on legally.
No offense to them, but again, they work for us. So if it's something that we really want, we can have them get it done in 2 weeks. Am I wrong?
No, just so you know, 2 weeks isn't really 2 weeks to have it on the agenda, or else, as Judith can testify, you need it sooner than that.
Like 10 days,
Yes, exactly.
but,
We all had a job, we all had deadlines, so
yeah.
I'm just speaking facts. So
All right, well, and that, I mean,
however we want to go with it.
we need to address the wording.
Right.
So we cannot pass the motion as it stands, because the motion as it stands is putting the proposed Police Community Relations Commission ordinance.
Who made the second?
Me.
Would you withdraw it?
I'm talking to Alderman Robinson.
But he'd have to withdraw his motion and reword it.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I also do not want to stall. I also do not want to move the goalpost. But if we are both in agreement that there need to be word changes, maybe not policy changes, but word changes to this document before it can be put on the agenda and voted on, we cannot pass the motion as it's been
That's
made.
right. That's right.
I'm very leery with withdrawing anything and not having some confidence that it's going to get done. That's my opinion right now.
Well, we
I
can-
would rather vote yes and everyone else vote no, just to prove a point. I'm very leery that if we pull it off, saying that I withdraw my motion, that this is just going to get drug out.
But withdraw your motion and make a new one with the amended verbiage.
Well, we could withdraw the motion and say that,
You could put it for the first meeting in October.
right, exactly.
Then it's on the agenda, it's gonna be on the agenda, and that gives them time to work through it to make it right. There's no sense in pushing it through in a hurry and not get it right. I mean, I personally would rather take the time to have it done right, so it withholds a legal challenge, than to rush it through, and quite frankly, do it in a way that it's gonna come back and bite us.
It's Alderman Robinson's motion. It's his to
That's correct.
withdraw, amend, or
That's correct.
call the question.
I state again, I'm not going to withdraw it if we
Right.
feel that we're just going to draw this out.
I will withdraw my second.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it. You're right, we need to vote on something. They've been waiting. Let's vote.
Right. We're going to call, roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson,
No,
Alderman Parker,
No.
Poulos,
No.
Alderman Geenan,
Yes.
Alderman Robinson,
Yes.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
Okay, 3-3. Mayor?
No.
3-4, motion fails.
now can I make a motion? Or is it, or to put it on at a later date?
Yep.
At a date
Well, no,
certain?
that would not be on the agenda.
It's done.
Though there certainly are a variety of ways in which things get put on the agenda, alternative to the city council voting on stuff.
All right, item number 23.
So if, I mean, the staff and the legal staff can work with Mr. Brooks to make the language adjustments and bring it back.
I would like that.
I would like that.
So why don't we do that? And if it's back in 2 weeks, it's back in 2 weeks.
Wasn't that the purpose of the study session? Wasn't that the purpose of the initial draft? Come on. We're playing games right now. That's what we're doing. We're playing games. I'm just being, we can go on. Let's go. Let's go to the next item.
Do you want it back on?
Well, we can just take that initiative
All right.
anyway.
All right. Item 23.
Report from the mayor's office regarding the reappointment of Jim Haas and appointment of Andy Pear to the Stormwater Board of Appeals.
Move to approve the reappointment and appointment as recommended.
Second,
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson,
aye.
Alderman Parker,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 24.
Report from the city clerk's office regarding an activity permit application from Kyle Peters of the Daiquiri Factory for the 2021 You Make My Weekend Festival to be held on Saturday, August 14th from 3 o'clock p.m. to 12:30 a.m. and Sunday, August 15th, 2021 from 4 p.m. to 12:30 a.m.
Move to approve the plaza event as recommended, subject to complying with all plaza and liquor license regulations and subject to being closed down early if complaints are received.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
We all want that one.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson,
Aye.
Alderman Parker,
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan,
Aye.
Alderman Robinson,
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 25.
Report from the city clerk's office regarding a request from Jack Cullen, downtown Rock Island Director for the Quad Cities Chamber of Commerce, to close off the 300 block of 20th Street from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. on Thursday, August 19th, 2021, for the public unveiling of a new mural as part of the Alternating Currents Music, Film, Comedy, and Art Festival.
Move to approve the street closing request as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 26.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding an activity permit application from the Irreverent Warriors to hold a local Silkies hike on Saturday, August 28th, 2021, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Move to approve the event as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 27.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding a request from Kavanaugh's Hilltop Tavern for an outdoor fenced event with live music for the St. Patrick's Day Parade on Saturday, August 28th, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Move to approve the event and request subject to complying with all liquor license regulations, contacting the fire department for fire and safety considerations, and subject to being closed down early if complaints are received.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
2 weeks before the Labor Day parade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 28.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding an activity permit application for the 37th Annual Rock Island Labor Day Parade to be held on Monday, September 6th, 2021, from 9:30 a.m. to noon.
Motion to approve the event as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
That's why I was asking the dates. This is a Labor Day parade for live music on the 28th, and then 2 weeks later, we're having the parade?
The St. Patrick's Day Parade is on the 28th, and the Labor
Got it.
Day Parade is on
I'm
September
sorry.
6th.
Thank you.
St. Patrick's had to postpone.
I got it. Sorry.
I think, did we have a motion? We did. Roll call. All right, roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 29.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding a request from Jason Paris of Wake Brewing for outdoor entertainment with sound amplification and the outdoor sale and consumption of alcohol in the fenced-in area at 2529 Fifth Avenue on Friday, September 10th, 2021, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Saturday, September 11th, 2021, from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Move to approve the request as recommended, subject to complying with all liquor license regulations and subject to being shut down early if complaints are received.
Second. Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 30.
Report from the City Clerk's Office regarding an activity permit application from the Corn Belt Running Club for their 32nd Annual Nancy Kafheim Memorial Classic 5K and 10K Run on Sunday, October 3rd, 2021, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Motion to approve the event as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
Aye.
6-0, motion carries.
Item 31, other business.
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of things, if I may. I've had some people ask me about the hunting out within the city limits. Have we done anything to address that? Are we moving anywhere with that?
Yes, they are working on a proposed ordinance change to work with that. It's not at this point prepared. That was going to be part of tonight's study session.
Oh, okay.
So the next, we'll talk about it at one of the council meetings that come forth when they got all the information for everybody to discuss.
Right. Well, the second thing, and I wasn't as quick as Alderman Robinson, I was going to Commend the Backwater Gamblers. They're heading to Division I Nationals this coming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they are going to have a show on Wednesday night. So if anyone would like to see what they plan on putting on the water, and hopefully it's a good one, they will be at Ben Williamson Park at 6:30, and then wishing them luck up in Janesville, Wisconsin, knowing that next year the Division II Nationals will be in Rock Island.
Oh, neat.
So
That's great.
And they're one of the few ski companies that kind of made it through COVID. Didn't one in Branson close? Yeah.
Well, they barely made it through COVID.
We still have one.
A lot of good local support.
So
That's it. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, so, I believe Mr. Tweed had sent something out on strategic planning. So in my opinion, it's critical that we move forward with our strategic planning process as quickly as possible to aid us in our city manager search. Because until we identify the vision and the goals of this council, I don't see how we can look for a city manager if we don't know what we're doing yet. Extension, I understand, can't do it until October. It was always in, the last year it was in October, this year too. The budget's not driving strategic planning, so the process has been very well set by extension. I am very familiar with that process. I have facilitated with extension people. Do we want to ask Bi-State? I can work with Bi-State Gina and Denise and see if they can facilitate the process and possibly do it sooner than October.
My only comment there is I think that the goal setting, even with vision and everything else, is not, in my opinion, is not hooked to the city manager, hiring of a city manager. And so, because those can change, I hate to say yearly, but on a somewhat basis, and you're not going to change city managers every time you change a vision or a goal.
3-year plan
And so-
this time.
But even 3 years from now, 6 years from now, those could change, and you hopefully don't change on city manager at that point, based on that, that information. City managers, you look for the quality of management, and direction, working with direction of city council. And so that, I think, is some of the qualities or qualifications you look for in a city manager, more than the vision of the city, or goals of the city. And so I don't think that, my personal opinion, those are not hooked, or need to be hooked together. And I like the idea of an independent organization, whether it be the school or whatever handling the goal setting. It's going to be difficult to get time scheduled with individuals here, and much sooner than October. We've had this trouble in the past trying to schedule dates that everybody can meet. Could be very difficult. Those are my thoughts.
I think even if we do a strategic plan in October, that still gives us 2 months before a new city manager is going to start employment, before the strategic plan would even begin to be implemented. And I think 2 months is an adequate amount of time, once we get our plan developed in October, because it's not like we're going to implement it in November or December anyhow. It's not going to be implemented until January. And to be quite honest, I think some of us have budgeted our time in accordance with where we had decided strategic planning was going to be. Because I know for me, it's going to be really difficult to go ahead and pull a strategic plan up any earlier than October.
I know I got vacation time in there, but yeah.
Well, we've been having this discussion since the new council was sworn in, and several of us have pushed for an earlier strategic planning process.
Yeah, I think you're probably talking to me in terms of, as we talked about how it relates to the American Rescue Plan funding. 5-year planning is only 3-year planning really now. We have a lot of, we're at a crossroads in terms of leadership within the city. It would make sense to make it a priority out of my schedule. I don't know, that's just, I hear both sides.
I think we need to have a much bigger, more robust conversation about what exactly we're talking about here. Are we suggesting that the only way in which we identify what this city is going to do through a once-a-year meeting of 8 people in a room. I mean, the entire process is just indicative of why it needs to be improved. I'll just put it that way.
Be what?
Improved.
Improved.
I concur.
You know, I mean, we're arguing about whether it should be August or October, but you look at the current strategic plan, the annual action plan, whatever we want to call this thing, the thing that's posted on our website, and every single item is late from last year, right? So who cares if it's in August or October? We need to talk about what we're actually doing here. And what do we mean by strategic planning? Because what we do every year is we throw up 10 things. You know, who's got 10 ideas of what they want to do, right? And they're either really vague and totally useless to our staff, or they're just like random little policy. You know, a vacant property registry. Okay, that's a good thing to do, but how does that fit into the bigger picture of what we're trying to accomplish? And when we're talking about strategy, strategy is leaning into your strengths and acknowledging that you can't do your weaknesses. Our strategic planning process does not involve any sort of real strategic thinking, because what are the strengths of the city of Rock Island? Well, I don't think the 80 of us in one room can answer that. I think there needs to be more public participation in this process so that we really understand what does our community think is our strengths, and then how should we allocate our resources to those strengths, right? Why are we, you know, I don't want to throw it, I mean, I have my assessments on what strengths and weaknesses are for the city of Rock Island, but I'm one person. So I don't know. We're kind of stuck in another cyclical game here of how do we start? But I don't think arguing about whether it's August or October is the point.
But Extension and we arrived at a new process that was submitted to all council members. A strategic planning process.
You struck it with it, but that didn't mean the council struck that format.
Nor do I really
with them.
see what the
That was
difference
just
is
one council
between
person.
I don't understand what the difference of what the Extension Office is proposing versus what we've always done. I don't see what the difference is, and I'm more than happy to go with the Extension Office, but I don't see how they're going to be any different from by-state. What type of processes do we have within City Hall to ensure that our resources are being applied to our strategic vision? Because if it goes back to the thing I was saying about the water infrastructure, right? If we say our strategic plan is that we're going to have high-quality infrastructure, which is one of our goals, right? But then we crunch the numbers and we figure out how much money is it going to cost us to have high-quality infrastructure? And then we find out, oh, we got to raise water rates by 40%. You know, and then people start screaming about 40% water rates. Well, then suddenly our strategic vision goes out the window, because really all we care about is not being called and being complained about, right? So, I mean, we need to be honest about what we're trying to do here. We need to be honest about what our strengths are and our weaknesses, and we have to have some commitment or willingness to commit and say, this is the way it's going to be for 5 years. Here's our strengths. Here's what we're going to play to. Because being strategic is having the courage to say, that's a great idea, but it doesn't fit in the city of Rock Island. We're not going to allocate resources to it.
In most strategic plans I've been involved with, you do the SWOT analysis
Right.
to look at that. And when you do that, and whether you have a lot of citizens' input or it's just this council yet could still, that's another debate. But it unfortunately takes time. And you talk about, Dave, committing time, that's what we need to commit, is because typical strategic plans are more than 1 day long. Because you do have to dig into strengths, weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. And you need to beat those up and discuss them, each one of those individually, if nothing else amongst this group. And so it is, typically the ones I've gone through, and I've gone through a number of them, are several days long. And so this group's got to have that patience to go through that process to get to that.
I'm planning on 4 years. I was reelected. You're right, exactly. We're taking the long-term approach.
Right, but I'm just saying, it takes several, that's exactly, but it's going to take several days to go through that, a SWOT analysis.
A time of commitment.
If you're going to call it that, which has been that way for decades, and so not reinventing that wheel.
So
Then we need to, I'm sorry.
this is the same kind of response like with Police Commission. Presentation was made to all council members about, here's a different way to do strategic planning process. We have complained about the process for each of the last 4 years. Here was a new process. Did we have an open and honest discussion about what is strategic planning, or did anybody else come up with a better way to do it? No.
I don't think anyone's debating that. I think people are debating, do we do it in August or do we do it in October, as we had decided to have it done in October?
August.
And I think some people maybe don't have a clear understanding what process this organization uses, what I heard from Dylan.
Ready?
Well, can we get, because you're talking about the SWOT analysis, and I love it. Can we get our staff to participate in that and get their input just presented to council so that it's not just the 7 of us talking?
I think we had decided that we were going to invite department directors to this, because there's no
Right.
sense in council going ahead and coming up with a plan if it's not
Can they send those
implemented.
to us, though, ahead of time so that we can look at those?
And we
rather
do
than-
that. That's what we've done in the past. And that's what we do every year.
Well, last year was kind of a
Well, we did it though last year.
unique year.
It was.
And I can tell you what we did, I can send everyone what we did 4 years ago on our 5-year plan where we did the detailed analysis.
And there's been talk about, once again, going even farther than just the SWOT, is reevaluating the vision statement, which is fine, but there's been talk about that, and which is typically separate from even a SWOT analysis.
The process that we used in 2017, someone from the community sent me Moline's strategic plan. The goals, the vision are practically identical because they were all done, and ours are not the only one, because they were done by Lyle. So how does that distinguish? Rock Island is a very different community than Moline. And they were basically cookie-cutter visions, strategic plans.
I think that's sort of what I was getting at is,
That's right.
you know, how much are we willing to commit to actually saying, this is our strategy, and we are going to pin the resources of this city to the strategy, and come hell or high water, that's it, right? I was reading Cole's strategic vision the other day because I've been researching this stuff, right? And they want to be the most trusted brand for their family and active lifestyle, right? I mean, so they're not saying we're gonna have the best clothes, right? That's too vague. And they don't try to do everything. They understand their lane and they allocate resources strategically to where it works for them, right? To families and activewear. And they work on being trustworthy because they see that as something, right? We're trying to do everything. And because we don't have the resources, we don't do anything. So, I mean, what type of process internally are we going to have somebody say, yeah, Alderman Parker, that's a really good idea, but that does not make any sense to our, our understanding of what our strengths are.
Of course, if you make a 3-year plan, you don't know your finances to adapt to that for 3 years. In a lot of cases,
Coles doesn't know what their finances are going to be in 3 years, and yet they still understand where their strengths are and what they need to invest in.
Well, you still need to understand those, but putting those resources, I guess I'm saying, yes. So, we've got to make a decision and move forward on the process, so we don't just keep on spinning our wheels and go another 2 weeks and another 2 weeks just talking about it. And, I mean, my personal opinion is we stick with this institution and we do it in October, and whether it's a couple days, and then we all make sure we got a clear understanding what process this institute is using, and make sure we're all comfortable with that. Does anybody have a question on what the process is with this organization? Or do they understand?
So are we doing the one that I commented on, what you circulated, Alderwoman Gilbert, about a process? Or did we have something in front of us to look at from Randy already?
Well, you sent it out and I've sent it out, so you've seen it, you've seen it twice.
That's what we're referring to.
Yeah, it's a document, a one-page document.
And Randy, that, what is it? What date in October, the 18th or 19th or something?
Well, it's on the 19th, which is a Monday.
So that's just a 4-hour session.
That was just well, it usually took about 5 hours, but yeah, that was one night.
Tuesday.
Oh, well, then it's the 18th, whatever that's what council set last year as the date.
I see.
It was an off Monday when there wasn't a council meeting.
I see. I'm reminded of how we came to decide the long-term community recovery plan process, right? I mean, I think we all need to acknowledge that around the table, we don't really understand this. Just like how we didn't understand how to develop a long-term community recovery plan. And so perhaps we should ask somebody who knows something about how to develop strategy and how to develop processes internally to ensure strategy. And maybe not like an RFP, but maybe a task force of us that are interested in this stuff, that want to talk to people. I mean, how does Augustana do their strategic planning process? How does Trinity, Unity Point, how does, Russell just hired a new chief strategy officer. What does that mean and why did they decide to use that, right? I mean, ask Jim, Mayor, you know him, right? So, I mean, we need to learn how to do this better. And admittedly, I don't know how to do it better. I've been Googling stuff like coals, but we need somebody that can help us understand how to do this better.
And sometimes how private companies do it could be different than public. I'm not saying they are, but it could be.
Sure.
Resources are different.
I just keep going back to the fact that we're late on all the stuff that we came up with last year. So even if we come up with this, you know, how's that going to be any different?
So are you saying hire somebody?
Not
No.
even, I didn't say hire somebody. I said solicit, hey, Augustana, Trinity, how do you do this? How do you make sure that your strategy is aligned with what you're actually doing on the ground?
Okay. And forgive me, but it's August. If we're doing it in October, why are we just now saying, oh, we should solicit?
I hear you. I don't know.
I mean, it's the same thing when Randy sent out the RFQ for the ARP funds. How many aldermen responded, Randy? Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, to be honest with you, I have gone through so many strategic planning things. I've facilitated strategic planning. The first thing you have to do is, as the mayor said, you have to do a SWOT analysis, or SWOT analysis. People pronounce it different. But that's the first step. Identify your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Once you have those identified, you have to do that first. Then from there, you look at how you're going to move forward and what your direction is going to be. So I think, to be honest, the first thing we need to do, whether it's each of us aldermen individually sitting down and doing our own assessment of that, and, you know, that's a start. That's something that we can do right now. And then you come to your first meeting and you're not behind the plate. I mean, you can start off your first meeting with, all right, everybody put down what all your strengths are, what all your opportunities are, and then you look at those and kind of narrow down and come to an agreement on what they are. And then from there, you move forward with what your direction and your plan is.
Alderwoman Swanson, that is exactly the process that Extension proposed. Exactly that. Aldermen, council have homework, like you just suggested, with doing the SWOT analysis themselves, bringing it to the meeting, and then the first thing is doing a SWOT analysis.
And it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody objecting to that. I really don't. And so, you know, that's, and we, whether it's October 19th or 18th, is when we're sitting down going over those. And then the next step, and whether it's another date or whether you have the same date, I don't know.
We can do it in August. I mean, if we're talking about doing it in August or October, I don't care. And I'm fine with using the University of Illinois. I'm also all right with that. We're behind on our current goals. I don't know if they're going to get done. So, I mean, it doesn't matter.
So why can't we just keep the date that we have picked? Why can't we pick August 18th? It's on everybody's, October 18th, it's on everybody's calendar.
If it works for everyone's
I personally
calendar,
have
why not?
worked around that date.
It did once.
So
In
Well,
August.
So for U of I, if we're going to do it during a week, they want 3 nights.
Right.
Ideally, starting at 4 o'clock. They could work with 5, but they will finish by 8 because they said after 8 o'clock, people are too burned out to continue. So ideally, it would be 3 nights, 4 to 8.
I can do that.
Or a weeknight, or a weekend, I mean?
Or a weekend. The thing about what you've been talking about tonight, it seems like 3 weeknights would work better because it gives you a chance to do something, think about it, come back, think about it, and then come
all
back.
refreshing.
That's kind of what I'm hearing tonight, that may be better, but it's your call. I just need to know, if I'm going to schedule it, I just need to know when to schedule it.
I think it's important and meaningful work, and if it involves 3 nights in August or October, I'll be available.
They're only available in October.
And they're unfortunately not, they've got vacation here, and they're not available until October.
So what they do is they just facilitate what Alderwoman Gilbert has already presented, right? They're just facilitating then, right? So we could really just do it ourselves? Do we really need to have someone to?
It was their process, but I have worked with them, using that process and done the facilitation. It does help to have a facilitator, I
Right.
think, and they were going to bring two.
Keep us on path, on track.
But
I'm just looking, I guess, since I'm one of the newest ones here, the more time to do this, the better, instead of waiting until later in the year, and then I'm kind of forced to come up with things that I don't know. So the earlier we can start with this, it gives me that opportunity to, go back and forth, like Randy was saying. We can come up with some ideas, some plans, go back, think about it, then come back and, bring that back up. It's better to dialogue back and forth instead of just trying to force it all out at one time.
So the 3 nights in a row, you feel more comfortable with?
Or however
Even-
long it
I mean,
takes.
yeah, if it's longer. I don't know if a set time period, it depends on if we get the job done. If we're comfortable with what we come up with, however long that takes. Because I think from what I'm hearing, the problem before is that you have a day and you try to fit everything within a day or 2 days, and you really are not satisfied with what you have, but that's the only time you give yourself, so you're kind of stuck with it.
Well, you sent out some dates in October, those 3 evenings in a row, or 3 evenings.
Well, I sent out dates for the weekend, the 3 meetings in a row. You would just need to let me, in October, what 3 days do you want to do? I mean, we start with 3 days, and if you need more, then we can come back.
Do those 3 days, do they need to be in a row or not?
They don't need to be in a row.
They do not need to be in a row, okay.
Is that what I heard
I
you
think
say?
if we did like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, that would work well. That gives you a date in between.
That's not what Alderman Robinson said.
Okay, I hate to be the negative Nelly here, but I have a full-time job, so in order for me to do this, to facilitate a 4 o'clock, I have to take PTO time, and I have to get that approved ahead of time. So if we could come up with an idea, that would help me tremendously, because I will make the commitment to be here. But like I said, I do have a job that,
Could we do 4 nights at 5 to 8?
So
That's 3
I'm
hours.
going to
So I guess
practice active listening.
What I'm suggesting is that instead of rushing, so I'm with you. I have a full-time job also. October is very busy for us. It's a new fiscal year. So it gets very hectic with trying to find time. So the more time we have to do this, the better. So that means if we start early, then we can spread it out instead of trying to combine everything. And that's just a suggestion coming from me.
The
Extension office is not available.
isn't available until October.
And we can't do it internally.
So initially what I said, we can't do it internally?
I don't think, unless you find an independent facilitator,
So I guess.
find an independent facilitator, then you can't, then I'm all right, whether it's by state or whoever it is. But other than that, all of us here,
So coming up with your SWOT analysis, we can't do that internally?
you can do that, and everybody can do their own, but you need to have an independent, unbiased person facilitating it.
to
That's the only
coordinate
way it
those
will
together
work.
and to wordsmith those together.
I think we can certainly do it internally if we develop what our expectations are.
Again, I've never been to one, so I don't know. So
I mean,
I have been to one, but I haven't been to the city. So
I think
if we
that-
feel we can't do it internally, then
Randy can just as easily stand up in front of a room and say, okay, what do you guys think our strengths are and what do you think our weaknesses are?
No, so the process is
But that's not what we want.
50% of it or 30% of it. The skill of the facilitator is the majority of this at talking, helping the council create, so the goals aren't vague, so to keep you on track. I mean, that's the real skill of a facilitator.
I guess I'm referring to more of the SWOT analysis
That
part.
can be done anytime you want.
Right.
The first part is the SWOT analysis, where you do your homework, you bring it, you put it up there on the board, and then if we don't have a facilitator or you're on hand, then you start looking for the commonalities, and then you start,
And maybe I just wasn't clear. That's what I was talking about, the SWOT analysis.
And we
I
can do a
figured
SWOT, so we can get them to give us the homework right now.
Right.
And you could have a month to do the homework.
We can start early, so we can be able to go back and forth. And then when we get to the point where we have to start really making decisions, then that's when we get the facilitator to actually help us out and guide us in that right direction.
And if you don't come
Yes, sir.
prepared, you don't come prepared.
I'm all for it as long as everybody understands what we're doing. And I'm not sure that our staff understand what they're doing. Not meant to put it that way, Randy, sorry.
I mean, I'm not sure what we're, talked about, like, yeah, exactly, what are we want to start early, and we want to use the U of I Extension Office. That's what I'm hearing, is that? And we want to use their process.
I'm hearing collecting data, so SWOT analysis, collecting your data.
Okay.
And so,
But ultimately, for you and I, that's in October. So it would start, whether we start now, but we'll conclude it in October, when they're available.
We want to have an email chain. Do we want to have a weekly get-together where we talk about our thoughts for the week? How do we want to, what's the process for developing our SWOT analysis? Do we just want to individually come up with our own SWOT analysis and then wait until October? Well, that's my point. Like, what is the process?
I think that is. I think everybody comes up with their own SWOT analysis, and then that is presented at the first meeting that we have in October. And then we go from there.
Yeah, I don't think there's consensus there yet. So from your perspective, what is the process?
So the homework assignment is for each member to do their own SWOT analysis. It's not going to take us 2 months to do it.
Right.
And we have an earlier session, maybe scheduled just for 3 hours from 5 to 8. And we start with strengths or even assets. I think it's clear we need to identify what our assets are in the city. See how far we get. And then we schedule another session until we work through our SWOT.
And is that being facilitated by the University of Illinois? Or is that being done in-house?
They're not available
Right.
till October. And Randy is correct in that when you get into, when we're starting to identify goals after the SWOT analysis, and then getting into the nitty-gritty of what are we going to do, what are the action steps for the next year to accomplish these goals, 3 to 5 goals, hopefully, then that's when we really need extension. But we could be to that process in October if we start.
it just sounds like we need to be comfortable within our own abilities to be able to do some of the SWOT analysis by ourselves.
No, and I recommend that we can find somebody like Bi-State to help facilitate. I'm not saying we can't do it earlier, to
Right.
help facilitate that SWOT.
But
deal.
that's not available until October.
No, Bi-State is.
They're earlier.
They
We
could
don't
be.
have any dates, but
Yeah, they could be.
typically, they've got 2 people there, so one of them could certainly do it.
I just feel an outside facilitator, even on the SWOT, can help wordsmith and bring things together, where even right now, you can tell that we struggle a little bit on trying to get that
And I don't
together.
wanna
But that's
speak on
that's
behalf
part
of-
of the SWOT, though. I mean, you get
But this facilitator helps with that.
Okay.
And I don't want
It
to
does.
speak on
It-
behalf
it-
of Bi-State, but I know that they're helping the 7th Ward with a safe route to school application, and their staff doesn't have a lot of time either. I don't know what their availability is from
You have
now
to
till
check.
October
That's right.
either.
But, so that's why we have to look at those dates. But if everybody agrees on that, I'm going back to Dylan's, agrees on that process.
But there's probably a lot of folks out there that have done some basic form of SWOT analysis in the
There's
community
people
that
out
can
there.
facilitate us till October.
Absolutely.
We have plenty of talented professional people in Rock Island who could assist.
Well, the council just needs to let me know who they want to use.
Let's try with Bi-State. It's free.
And what date are you looking at now? What are your dates?
That's the trick.
Because if I go to Bi-State, if I go to any facilitator,
Need to know
I have to know when, unless you wanted me to check their availability first, but then it's the next meeting before we're able to iron anything down.
We can talk about it in between the meetings, can't we?
What?
Is it those dates? Can't we talk to the individuals, council members, on dates at work?
I don't really get any response, I'll be honest with you. It needs to be discussed here, because I just don't get input.
Well, I mean, if you go to them and you get some dates for us to filter, it's a lot easier than us trying to give you our individual dates.
And what do you want, 2 sessions, 3 sessions of SWOT analysis from 5 to 8? Is that what we're asking for?
I'm looking for y'all benefit. I mean, I have no idea. I don't know how
We can
long
work
this will
with that
take.
schedule, that's fine if that's where we're
That
starting.
would be a good start,
2 sessions? Let's go with 2 sessions.
5 to 8.
And I am not available any Wednesdays, but otherwise I can be available.
And we want to do it this month.
Can you send out a doodle poll?
That's
We're
gonna be
already
tough.
to the 10th.
I would say,
We're already to
I would
August
say
10th.
August is out. I would say September.
Again, it's your,
I'm available August or September.
just trying to assist.
Yeah, I can do.
I've been thinking.
The only day I can't do in August is August 30th. We're having a third ward
Let me
citizen
check with,
advisory.
let me check with Bi-State first, make sure their availability.
If they're interested,
If they're not available, they'll do it.
for all the money we pay.
Yeah, they do it for free, so they'll come and do it.
Check to see if they have dates available this month and next month.
I will.
And then we can all figure out when we can make it work.
Try to go for the same week, like a Tuesday, Thursday?
Sure.
That's what
Go in
I'll,
1 week?
or do you want a week apart? 2 Tuesdays, a week apart.
I thought we said 2 sessions.
Yeah, 2 sessions, 2
But
Tuesdays.
Do you
a
want
week
them in the
apart.
same week or a week apart?
I mean, as long as there's a time in between Tuesday and Thursday, that's a,
Well, but if, for instance, Jenny's working Wednesday night, so when's she gonna?
I work Tuesdays and
Makes it
Thursdays.
hard for me and the kids too if it's.
Yeah, so.
He works Tuesday and
Yeah,
Thursday night.
so a week apart might be
I
easier.
teach at University of Iowa on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Augustana on Wednesday.
So the only day available is either a Monday or a Friday then. So I'll pick Mondays that are off council meetings
There you go.
and not the 30th.
We're into September then,
We're into September.
Right.
We're into 2 dates in September.
I can do a Friday.
Friday.
I don't know.
I'll make a Friday work.
I can't, I don't think I can, but.
Yeah, I can do-
I'm just trying to say my availability, doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I'll shoot for
Available Friday.
Monday and Fridays.
All right, have we done with that topic?
Yeah.
Hey, can we have some consensus? A number of weeks ago, I brought up the pronoun, or not pronouns, but the term for us, aldermen, alderwomen, right? I believe state law has changed it to alderperson. Josh has to jump between Alderman Parker, alderwoman, like, it's confusing. Can we just say alderperson? Everybody cool with that?
So it's up to the municipality, so you can decide whatever you like.
Everybody fine with that?
cool.
There,
Okay.
How about that one?
easy.
That was a quick decision.
So another one that hopefully be easy or quick. How about for find a replacement city manager, whether to use a search firm, do an RFQ for a search firm to engage this, time's gonna run quick. With that also, that we need to eventually, get that process rolling.
I know that the law enforcement uses the Chiefs Association. Is there a government association that helps recruit government officials? I mean, trained or at least experienced?
The most common one is GovHR or HR Gov.
No, I think you're talking about ICCMA or something like that, the Illinois.
Well, the ICMA is one.
International City and municipal and county,
Yep,
city
so
manager, city administrator, something.
what they do is, basically they have what they call range riders, which are retired city managers that
Right.
work different areas of the country to assist cities. In our areas, it's John Phillips. But they would work with a search firm. They don't do it themselves, but they,
Well, if you don't want to use that, then.
No, that's
then-
fine. I
then
don't
that
have- I don't have a
Gov or
problem with it.
Whatever it is, I mean, an agency that is experienced and has the access to the vetted candidates would make our job a lot easier and probably less expensive.
well,
That's it?
Fine,
I think that's great.
Okay.
use John
So
Phillips and
but
GovHR.
we're talking about doing an RFQ to find a search.
well, an RFP, we have an RFP
Or
that
he-
I sent out to everybody, and,
Or just use that decision.
But it's an RFQ if you're looking for qualifications.
yeah, this one's the one we've done in the past was an RFP.
Or we could just decide to use this, what's it called? What?
Don't point at me, I didn't say it. I don't know.
No, that, you don't decide to use that. That's
Oh.
just, they just offer assistance.
Oh, I
They
see.
don't
Okay.
do the
All right,
search.
all right.
They come
Okay.
in and they help.
I
They
misunderstood.
may help vet candidates, or they may offer assistance to the city
Randy,
council.
is it your recommendation as outgoing city manager that we work with John Phillips through this ICMA organization to hire a headhunter to hire the next city manager? Is that your recommendation?
Typically, you go out on, you do your own search and find the search firm, there's like 3 and that'll do it in the area, and then you interview them and pick which one you want. That would be my
I'm asking you
recommendation.
about process. What is your recommendation on the process?
That's a recommendation on the process. If the council wants John Phillips' input, I can arrange that. A couple aldermen have told me they did not want John Phillips' input, so.
I think he was an outstanding city manager and is very well respected in the community, so I think we need to have somebody assisting us who actually knows what the job is in relation to our city.
I don't mind his input.
Nope.
I don't have to listen to it if I don't want
I
to.
would like to get other
What do you
former city managers' input, too.
Well, we could always have Thomas come, he was outstanding.
I said, former, other than Rock Island city managers.
We could talk to some other
Fresh
cities.
perspective on Rock Island and how we do
We
things.
could talk to some other current ones or whatever that, see if they're
Can
willing to
you,
help.
do you have individuals in mind?
I do.
Have you talked to them already?
No, I have not. But other people have talked to them, and they are very interested in
Okay.
helping
So-
Rock
Do
Island
you
move
have some
forward.
names for me?
Yeah, I can give you names.
Okay.
Okay, that's great.
Randy,
So
reach out to him.
The process is to do an RFP to work on a search firm. That's
Well,
what
I
I'm,
think first I'm gonna get some input from city managers, right, on the process, or
no,
what do
I
you
thought
want?
that was just a vet or help afterwards.
I don't know. I don't know, that's why
Well-
I'm.
What do you suggest?
No, it would,
I think that would be useful, Randy.
Okay?
To get the input first, or to do the RFP first?
Yeah, if you get input from several others, not just from one who worked
Okay.
on
Right.
Rock Island.
All right.
And the input you're looking for is specifically?
how should we go about hiring the next city manager?
What process to use?
What
and who-
process?
We
would
use an
they recommend?
RFP, any
Process and who?
specific vendors.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if do we want them involved in giving us recommendation as to whom to hire after the headhunting process? Or do we want
We
to,
do that also.
well,
if you
do
ask
we
for it.
want that? Because I'm fine with, having them advise us on how to write the RFP, which headhunter to select. But it's a different thing to have them also say, and then I will advise you on who to hire once you've gone through the headhunting process. I'm fine with that, but
I think it depends on who they are.
Randy, do you know, how much did Moline spend on their
I don't know,
search
they
firm?
used Baker Tilly the next time, usually it's.
Well, they used two.
Yeah, they used GovHR, and then the subsequent searches were free, because they have a 2-year guarantee.
It's a percentage of the
But in
salary.
Baker, I'll find out how much they use for both. Usually it's between 20 and 30,000. It's usually a percentage of the salary. Moline's salary is quite a bit higher than what we pay here.
That's something else we'll have to eventually get down to also, but.
Well, and I assume this headhunter will involve us in the questions of, is there anything specific that the council wants to know about,
Well, that's what they
candidates?
do, basically. You get them, and they come in and talk to the council, and that's how they get their marching orders moving ahead.
I think, yeah, it's good to clarify that it's not just, you guys go figure out who
No.
we should hire.
No.
It's-
Now, there's certain meetings set up with the council, and they come in.
Yeah, it's facilitating the process for us to figure out who would be a good fit for us. Are you clear on your instructions?
I am clear.
I'll give you the name
Thank
after
you.
the meeting. So Randy, tomorrow is the deadline for our RFQ for
It
the
is.
ARP funds?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
boy.
So can you explain to us how the process is going to move forward from that point?
So we're going to, tomorrow's the deadline. We already received a couple of inputs. I suspect most will probably come in electronically. There'll be a formal opening of those at 8:15 in my conference room on Wednesday morning. Then we'll go over and make sure they have all the required documents in there. Everything that looks good will be sent out to each alderman.
By next week, you think?
Hmm?
You think in a couple of weeks, or?
Oh, no, here this week,
Really? Great.
as fast as Samantha can get it done. So we'll have to see.
The heat's on.
I have heard from a financial expert in town that the concerns I had about those insurance requirements would, and are preventing individuals from applying, who are very interested.
We didn't put down any any insurance requirements. So I was asked a question, I said, these are typically our insurance requirements, but we didn't put down any in the RFQ itself. We didn't put down a dollar amount.
Okay.
We left that out purposely, and that was one of the reasons. I didn't put down what we typically have, and honestly, those are pretty inexpensive, I think. No individuals that don't own a firm have contacted me with any questions.
Do you want them to contact you?
What? Yeah, I mean, they were supposed to contact me by the last,
Yeah, it was a little late.
a week before Friday with
Well,
questions.
there are some people who found out late about it, and I've not had any contact with them, but I'm hearing this from
I mean, they
this
can-
one person.
They can contact me, but it's due tomorrow, so,
I know.
but sure, feel free to contact me.
Well, perhaps they misinterpreted the RFQ.
Looking forward to seeing them.
Yep.
And then, what, a study session where we talk about them?
Well, what we scheduled, what everyone approved was them to come back, you would pick, and what that process is, I don't know, probably a special meeting, but you would pick who you want, and then on September 7th, they come back and you would interview them. But if you're gonna look at 5 different people or firms, we'd have to extend the day. I guess it just depends on how many people you wanna interview, once you look at them. It may be that there's a couple that are very clear that they're on top and they're the best, and it may be that they're all very similar. And then somehow you have to figure out, we've not done this before, so I don't know. That's the unknown part of the process, is how you're gonna determine this.
Yeah, compared to the energy performance contract, staff kind of reviewed, and didn't even staff make a recommendation as to
Yes.
which one
Yep.
they thought would be best?
Staff did, but there was also that task force, if you remember, the
Yep.
sustainability task force.
Correct. I guess, do we, as city council, just want to, when we get the responses from the RFQ, do we want to, say, these are the 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever individuals that we want to interview? And the top 3 vote getters, if you will, come in for an interview? What do we want to do?
We hired an executive director for the consolidated fund. Each trustee put in 4 candidates, and they took the top, because there were 9 trustees, they took the top 5 candidates to interview. And there were clearly 3 that got votes from all 9 trustees. It could be the same as long as we didn't discuss among ourselves, just send them to a third party, whether it's our city clerk or the mayor or whomever, or Randy, send him your top, you pick your top 5 pick your top 5, send them to him, and then the top 5 vote getters. That's what we did. I don't know that that's what everyone wants to do.
Why don't we see how many we get? I've talked to half a dozen. Maybe we get 3 inputs, and you just look at those 3. I don't know what we're gonna get.
Okay.
I not even like those 3.
You may not, but it may be, again, that 1 or 2 are clearly on top, and there's no reason to even interview anyone else.
That could be.
Well, I'm excited. Get this process rolling.
Yep.
So, Mayor?
Yes.
Are we still having a special city council meeting on the 23rd?
Yes.
Are we going to have a process and ground rules?
Mr. Cole will be setting those up. I'd let him, an independent.
Right, I know.
Yeah.
But will council have it before the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to confirm. that.
Which, again, let me just ask that question while you're there. It may be also productive, and Brad asked this question, and whether the city clerk or the city manager should be involved in that discussion. They can excuse, it'd be an executive session, and they can excuse themselves and not be any part of that. And just record it.
If we're in executive session, it's going to be recorded, then somebody's going to have to.
Yeah,
You
just
can't
record it. We've done that in the
exclude-
past, just record it, and then it's.
You
then-
can't exclude, I don't think you can exclude the city clerk, or when can you, Dave? Only if it's about the city clerk. in executive
That's-
session.
My recollection is that if it is about the clerk, that's the only times we have done it in the past. I can double check, because I don't know if that's the only time, but I know that in past practice, that has been correct, yes.
My recollection.
We're going to research that, and then just record it and then do the minutes later off that recording.
Well, how about we start with everybody there, and if, as the process goes forward, if we feel like asking Randy to go wait out there, we can.
It's just a time for people to be very open and, okay.
And then, so that brings up an interesting point. So, the city's workplace bullying and harassment policy, that applies to aldermen too, correct?
I think that that it look at it as an official rather than employee, and I think that the wording of it, if I remember correctly, it applies to employees, and elected officials are not considered employees, they're considered to be officials, according to the Code of Ordinances. That's my recollection. I can get a clarification to make certain that that's true.
Yeah, I would appreciate that, because I think, if aldermen are taking part in the city's insurance, then to me, that kind of puts you in a special class of employment, and I want to make sure that I am protected.
Sure, and I'll be happy to take a look at it. Like I say, my recollection is, just as a thumbnail sketch, look at it, is that they make a distinction between employees and elected officials in the Code of Ordinances, and I think in the municipal code, but I'll verify that.
Because I think
and
it
get you that
says vendors,
information.
contractors.
Our current
and-
one, yeah, this policy applies to all employees as well as non-employees, such as, but not limited to, vendors, contractors, customers, and visitors.
So my recollection in 2019, it was that policy, anti-bullying policy, was discussed twice but never passed by council. If it was
It's an internal
approved.
policy.
And it's a policy, doesn't need to be passed by,
Well, that was what the discussion was, to approve a new policy. So if it was not approved by council,
Well, we did do extensive trainings. I think everybody had to undergo a training on workplace bullying and harassment to make sure they understood it, and I believe they had to sign it.
correct.
I think I attended one of those.
We did.
They're up here or something.
Okay. I need a motion to adjourn.
I
So
move to
moved.
adjourn. Second.
Second. I assume there's no discussion. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Swanson.
Aye.
Alderman Parker.
Aye.
Alderman Poulos.
Aye.
Alderman Geenan.
Aye.
Alderman Robinson.
Aye.
Alderwoman Gilbert.
aye.
6-0, motion carries.